So you step on the scale, you look at the number, and the number is going down. But you still feel soft. You still feel undefined. You still don't feel like yourself. And you're wondering, what is happening? Today, I'm breaking down the physiology of exactly why this happens, what your body actually needs, and what to do instead. Enjoy today's episode. Feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, or like you've lost yourself in the postpartum chaos? Whether you're 4 weeks postpartum, 2 years in, or done having babies, you deserve to feel like yourself again. Hey mama, I'm Val, a functional sports dietitian, postpartum fitness coach, and a mama who understands exactly what you're going through. Welcome to the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast, where you'll find simple, science-backed strategies to heal your core, rebuild strength, and restore your energy without the overwhelm. If you're ready to go from depleted to strong, nourished, and unstoppable, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, what's happening? Okay, every time I say that or even think of that, I instantly go to Mean Girls. Anyone else? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? It's a Missy Elliott song, I'm pretty sure. But okay, I'm getting off track and I'm barely starting the episode. You guys, do I have ADHD? Maybe, who knows? Okay, welcome back to the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast. I'm Val, your sports dietitian, strength coach, and I am a fellow mama. And this is the show where we talk about real nutrition, real strength, real life as a mom without the fluff or without the BS. Whether you're 3 weeks postpartum or 3 years out and still not feeling like yourself, you're in the right place. And I'm so glad that you're here. Before we get into today's episode, I had to share something with you because honestly, I am still pinching myself. I found out that the Strong and Nourished Mama podcast has officially moved from the top 2.5% to the top 2% of podcasts globally, okay? Globally, in the entire world of all the podcasts, we just hit over 22,800 downloads. And it's not just here in the US. This show is being listened to in, of course, the United States, but Canada, Vietnam, Singapore, the United Kingdom, Australia, Brazil, Bangladesh, Germany, and so many more countries that I honestly can't believe it. And in the United States specifically, the top 5 states over the last 3 months are California, Virginia, New York, Texas, and Minnesota. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. To every single one of you listening, whether you're here in Albuquerque like me or in Australia. Thank you. Genuinely, this means the world. And this show exists because of you, and I do not take that lightly. If you have been wanting a structured, progressive core program built specifically for busy moms, yes, I see you, mama. You're super busy. I know it's really hard to get into the gym and to do all of the things that you want to do. The Core Comeback Challenge is live right now. I just launched it. It's 4 weeks. It's on my app and it gets harder every single week in a way that is intentional and safe. And when you join, you also get a bonus bundle that is pretty badass. It includes the Hormone Snack Solution Protein Pack, a protein pack snack guide, a magnesium cheat sheet for moms, and a habit tracker and a done-for-you meal plan. All of that for $97. Head to wellnessbyval.com/core to grab your spot or head to the link in the show notes to get the link. I'm going to paint a picture. I'm going to start with something that I think is going to hit for a lot of you. The scale is going down and you're happy about that. You're excited. You're doing all of the things. You're eating better. You're moving more. You're trying to stay consistent, and yet you still feel soft. You still look in the mirror and feel like something isn't working. Like your body composition it isn't changing, even though your weight technically is. And can we just acknowledge how frustrating that is? Because you're putting in the work and the mirror isn't matching the effort, but you see the scale going down. Here's what I need you to understand first. Weight loss and fat loss are not the same thing, okay? They are not the same thing. They are completely different. You can absolutely lose weight and simultaneously lose muscle, hold on to fat, and end up feeling softer or flabbier than when you started. This has a name. It's called losing lean mass, losing skeletal muscle mass. And it happens to postpartum moms constantly. And almost nobody talks about it because the conversation always stops at the number on the scale. Today, we are going deeper, mama. We're talking about what's actually happening in your body, why it's especially hard postpartum after you have a baby. Maybe you just had a baby 2 years ago, you're pregnant again, and you're worried about it. for the next time you're postpartum. We're going to talk about what body recomposition actually requires. I'm so excited for this episode. You're going to get so much out of it. Before we move on, don't forget to share this episode and the podcast with a fellow mom friend because I know she can use the support. So let's first break down the 3 main reasons this is happening. And I want to be specific here because I think there's a lot of advice out there that's just way too vague, okay? Reason 1, it's not necessarily that you're eating too much, it's how you're eating. This is important because the default advice is always to eat less. Eat less, and move more. And for a postpartum mom, eating less is genuinely not the problem. The problem is the pattern. Here's what I see constantly. Moms who are barely eating during the day, barely eating. Coffee for breakfast, maybe a handful of something while they're feeding the baby, skipping lunch or grabbing something random. And then by the time the evening rolls around, they're starving. They're so hungry. They eat a really big dinner or they snack while they're making dinner. And then they snack after the kids go to bed. And the majority of their food for the day is crammed into the last few hours before bed. And your body's like, yo, I'm about to go to sleep. I need to recover. I need to reboot. I need to take out the trash. Yet I'm having to digest all of this food that you just ate. Then on the weekends, the structure falls apart completely. It's a totally different routine. Monday through Friday, moms are trying to be good. And then Saturday and Sunday, the wheels come off and they're eating 2,500 calories, 3,000 calories, or even more than that in a day without even realizing it. Because the weekday restriction has their hunger hormones completely dysregulated. That inconsistency, that feast and famine pattern, the restriction, the overeating, it keeps your blood sugar unstable. It keeps your hunger hormones out of whack, doesn't know what's going on, makes cravings feel really uncontrollable, and signals your body to hold on to fat rather than to burn it. Your body's not going to be in a place to burn fat. And layered on top of that, most moms aren't getting enough protein earlier in the day. They might get it at dinner, but protein, we need to evenly distribute it across the meals, especially to be able to hit our total target, not just have everything all in one meal at the end of the day. And fiber is another one that gets completely overlooked. Fiber is so important, and on social media or what you hear from so-and-so, I constantly hear one or the other. I hear protein or fiber. Now guess what? Why can't we do both? Protein and plants, okay? Why can't we focus on both? Because both are going to be important. I'm not asking you to go carnivore. I'm not asking you to go vegan. I'm asking you to have some protein and some plant foods because that's delicious and it's also really good for you, okay? Fiber keeps you full. It stabilizes blood sugar, feeds your gut microbes, it decreases inflammation. It is the missing piece from most moms' diets. So before we even talk about calories, we need to talk about the distribution, protein timing, and fiber because fixing those 3 things alone can change everything. Reason 2, cortisol is actively working against you. I know I've talked about cortisol before. We did a whole deep dive in episode 100, sleep, cortisol, and fat loss. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to episode 100 so that you can get the full picture. But the short version for today is this. New motherhood is a chronic stress state. Being a mom is a chronic stress state. Like we're always stressed. Sleep deprivation, the mental load, the physical demands, the emotional weight of it all of that keeps your cortisol elevated. And cortisol isn't bad, but chronically elevated cortisol, it's going to do 2 things, 2 specific things that are directly relevant to what we're talking about today. 1, it breaks down muscle tissue. Your body under chronic stress will actually break down your own muscle for fuel. So if you're under eating and chronically stressed, you're in a perfect storm for losing skeletal muscle mass and lean mass. 2, it promotes fat storage, specifically around the midsection. This is why so many postpartum moms have that persistent belly softness that doesn't seem to respond to anything. It's not a willpower issue. It's a cortisol physiology issue, and there's a lot that goes into this. You can eat perfectly, train consistently, and cortisol will still undermine your results if it is chronically elevated. Sleep deprivation alone, which hi hi, I'm a mom, I don't sleep, that's going to keep cortisol elevated enough to significantly stall body recomposition. This is real and it totally matters. Reason three, you're doing cardio. You're doing all the cardio, but you're not doing progressive strength training. If that's you, we need to talk. I want to say this with as much love that I have, like all the love in my body, because I genuinely mean it with the warmest heart possible. Mama, you only have so much time and so much energy. And if you are spending it on the treadmill, running miles outside, or that damn elliptical as your primary form of exercise, I love you. I support you. I am here for you. And that is not going to change your body composition. It's just not. It isn't. Cardio burns calories in the moment. Cardio is great. We need it, but it's not going to build or preserve lean muscle mass. And lean muscle mass, our skeletal muscle mass, is what changes the way your body looks and feels. It's what gives you that defined, strong, toned appearance. It's what raises your resting metabolism. It's what makes you feel like yourself again. And so when I hear moms say, I just want to be toned, I want to have toned arms, and I just want to be toned. Guess what? Guess what that is? It's lifting weights. It's in the gym working on strength training, progressive overload with resistance training. It's not the 2 to 3 pound weights in your Pilates class. And I'm not hating on Pilates. I just recently went to a Pilates class and I went with my brother's girlfriend. It was a lot of fun. It was also really freaking hard. Oh my gosh. I was like, what is happening? I'd rather be doing a million high roxes and lifting really heavy weight than doing this with the little weights, with the pulses. That is great. It's fun. I plan to go again. But am I going to Pilates to build muscle, to build strong bones, and to feel good? No, I'm not. But again, there's nothing wrong with it. You can do both things. And we can discuss how that looks and how that fits in your lifestyle. So being toned is really just having more muscle, okay? It is what it is. Without progressive strength training, meaning training where you gradually increase the demand on your muscles over time, week by week. Maybe you start with body weight, then you work up to the 10 pounds, the 15 pounds, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, and it's going to change and you're lifting some weights, right? That's what we're talking about. Your body has no reason to hold on to muscle without the progressive strength training. And if you're eating in a deficit without lifting, you are losing muscle right alongside fat, which is exactly why the scale goes down, but you still feel soft. Progressive strength training is the non-negotiable. Cardio is great. We need it. I love cardio. But it cannot be the main event unless, of course, you are training for a marathon or an Ironman, a half Ironman, something that is a cardio event. Obviously, that's going to be your main focus. But guess what those athletes are doing? Those moms are doing. They're still lifting weights. They're still going to be incorporating that into their program. I love cardio. As a mom who doesn't have a lot of time, I like to incorporate both. And this is something that I teach with the women that I work with is get in your strength with your cardio. There are so many fun ways to do that that's going to take less time than being in a steady state pace on the elliptical and then doing a strength training session. So here's the thing. All of this is harder postpartum than at any other point in a woman's life. Now, I'm not saying that other points in our lives aren't going to be difficult, but that postpartum period, it's a hard time. And I want to name that because I think most moms are really, really hard on themselves when they don't understand why their body is responding differently. Pregnancy itself changes your body composition baseline. If you weren't able to stay active during pregnancy, or if your activity dropped significantly because of how you felt, pelvic pain, exhaustion. I just met with a client this morning where she was very active before her pregnancy. She had this dream of, okay, when I get pregnant, I'm going to exercise this many days per week. I'm going to continue my routine. And when she got pregnant, something came up that was out of her control 100%, and her activity had to decrease. That's okay. That happens. And we cannot hate on ourselves because of that, because there's so many things that can happen throughout pregnancy. Now, because of that, those changes and just being pregnant alone, you're likely losing muscle mass during those 9 months of creating your baby, right? That's the focus, especially if we're not eating enough and we're not exercising. Everything's going to baby, rightly so. So you're starting from a different baseline than you were pre-pregnancy. It's not fair to compare your pre-pregnancy self to your pregnancy self or your postpartum self. It's hard not to compare, honestly, I know, but we can't compare those two. Now, breastfeeding increases your caloric needs significantly. It costs a lot of energy, but it also creates appetite dysregulation for a lot of moms. Some feel ravenous. That's how I was. I couldn't eat enough. Give me anything and everything. I'm eating it all. Some are focused on the baby and stressed out. They're not sleeping, that they forget to eat for themselves. None of that is a character flaw. It's hormones, it's sleep deprivation, and the reality of being a mom. And then there is this cultural pressure, the bounce back bullshit. I like that, BBB. The bounce back bullshit narrative that pushes moms toward restriction and cardio. Eat less, do more cardio, get your body back as fast as possible, which is, as we just talked about, exactly the wrong approach if what you actually want is to change your body composition, to feel strong, to be on this earth for a long time, to be healthy and be there for your kids. I have a client who came to me and she was doing all the right things. She was eating less and she was doing cardio every single day. She was doing HIIT, high intensity interval training. The scale was moving. She was happy about that, but she felt soft. She felt weak. Her energy was tanked by the middle of the day, and she couldn't figure out why. So we started with awareness. Awareness is key. Before you change anything, you start with awareness. So that's what we did. I had her log her food, not to restrict, not to obsess, but to just see what was actually happening. And what she found surprised her. She wasn't eating enough during the day. She was barely getting enough protein and fiber for breakfast and lunch. And her weekday versus her weekend eating was wildly inconsistent. It was all over the place. Pretty controlled Monday through Friday. Then the wheels would come off on Saturday and Sunday. And her overall intake was all over the place. It was very inconsistent. We didn't overhaul her diet. Okay. We didn't put her on this strict meal plan. We made small strategic tweaks. We got protein in earlier in the day. We added in some fiber, smoothed out the distribution so she wasn't swinging between restriction and overeating. We did this in a way that felt realistic for her with the foods that she enjoys. And then we added progressive strength training on top of that once she felt ready, starting with body weight and then integrating the cardio when she wanted to. And then we added in some weight and worked up from there. The scale barely moved. She was like, Val, the scale isn't moving. What's going on? But her body composition, that shifted. She also felt stronger. She felt less soft. She started feeling like herself again. And that's body recomposition, baby. That is what is possible when you are doing the right things in the right order. And it wasn't perfect by any means, but she was focusing on the things that were really going to be appropriate and realistic for her as a busy mom. So let's talk about what it actually takes. The 3 non-negotiables. Non-negotiable number 1, enough protein consistently and evenly distributed. Protein is the building block of muscle, okay? Amino acids make up protein. Those are the building blocks of muscle. And without adequate protein, you cannot build muscle and you cannot preserve the muscle you have. It's a non-negotiable, okay? You also need protein and amino acids for every other organ and tissue within the body and your bone included. So it's not just your muscle. Protein needs are going to be very individualized. They depend on your lean body mass, your activity level, whether you're breastfeeding. Ideally, we calculate it based on lean body mass. So if we have your body composition results, that's ideal. But if you don't have that data, then there's a general starting point that's approximately 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or per kilogram of ideal body weight if you're significantly above your goal weight. It just depends. So this is why I recommend working one-on-one with a dietitian that you trust and who knows what they're doing. If you're breastfeeding, you're going to need more on top of that. Yes, I said it. You're going to need more than that. I have a full breakdown of protein needs, what to eat, and how to exactly hit your numbers in my free protein guide. You can grab that at wellnessbyval.com/protein snack guide. I'll also link it in the show notes for you. But the key thing I want you to remember, protein needs can be spread across your meals. That's what we want. That's what we want because we want to be able to get a certain amount a minimum at each meal, and we want to evenly distribute it so it's actually realistic. And we don't want to get everything all in one meal. And what I'm talking about is at the end of the day. That's what I'm seeing from a lot of moms, is getting all of your protein at the end of the day and then going to bed a couple hours later. We want to be able to have enough time to digest and then go to sleep so that we can recover, reboot, take out the trash. If you're going to bed with a full belly, your body isn't going to be able to do those things that it needs to do during sleep. It's going to focus on digesting your food. And so then, of course, sleep is going to suffer. Your body needs a certain amount of protein for muscle protein synthesis. So we are aiming for a meaningful protein source at every single meal: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then, of course, your snacks are going to be a little less than that. Non-negotiable number 2, progressive strength training, and for the postpartum moms, in the right order. This is where I need to be very specific, because postpartum strength training is not the same as just going to the gym and lifting weights. If you just had a baby, or if you have had your baby and you haven't done the foundational work yet, you cannot and should not jump straight into progressive strength training. I covered this in detail back in episode 104, so go listen to that. I really want you to go back, listen to that one if you haven't. The link is also going to be in the show notes. And there are also several earlier episodes in the podcast specifically on core and pelvic floor foundations, so I'll list those in the show notes as well. The short version is there are 3 phases of postpartum return to exercise. And this doesn't matter if you have never done phase 1, that's where you're starting, okay? Phase 1 is breathing and deep core reconnection. Phase 2 is progressive movement and neuromuscular control. Phase 3 is higher intensity, heavier loads, and returning to more advanced training. You have to build the foundation before you build the house. You have to have the house plans before you just start building the house and picking out the granite. And if you are 5 months postpartum and you skipped phase 1, that's where you start. Even if you've already gone back to the gym, it doesn't mean, okay, stop going to the gym. It just means, hey, let's incorporate phase 1 into your training program. Even if you are 2 years postpartum and you realize you never actually did the foundational work, that is where you start. It is never too late to go back to those foundations. It makes a huge difference. And then from there, once the foundation is solid, you progress, you add load, you add complexity, you track your lifts, you make it harder week by week. That is progressive overload. That is what's going to change your body composition. No random workouts, no hopping between programs. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to do that. And I say this with absolute love and zero judgment. Please stop spending your precious, limited, hard-earned time and energy on the elliptical and wondering why nothing is changing. You have maybe 45 minutes to yourself, maybe you only have 20. Are you really going to spend it going nowhere on a machine? We have to talk about that, mama. Progressive strength training is the answer. Your future self will thank you in 30 years. I promise you that. Non-negotiable number 3, nervous system support. You cannot change your body composition in a chronically stressed, underfueled, underslept state. You can't out-supplement a stressed out nervous system either to be able to then try and focus on body recomposition. That's not how it works. And I know that it's not what anyone wants to hear when you're in the thick of motherhood, but it is the truth. This does not mean that you need perfect sleep. It does not mean your life needs to be stress-free. That's not going to happen because that's not realistic. It means we are being intentional about not adding in more stress on top of an already maxed out nervous system. We don't want our bucket to overflow. We are not going to extremes with the diet. We are not training so hard that we are not recovering. We are looking at sleep hygiene, stress management, and making sure we are eating enough to support the demands we are placing on our bodies. Because the goal is not to do more. The goal is to do the right things and actually recover from them. So that then you can go on and live your life. I want to give you a quick permission slip. Okay, I'm writing you a permission slip. A few things to officially stop doing starting now, ASAP, today. Stop using the scale as your only metric. The scale does not tell you how much muscle you have, how much fat you have, or what your body composition actually looks like. There are a variety of different tools on the market. Now, if you can, in your community, find a place that actually does body composition, that would be great. A very common one that gyms have, it's going to be the InBody. I don't see a lot of local gyms with trainers who can do the skin fold calipers. I can, but I'm not obviously where you are, and it's not some, I'm not seeing in-person clients. And so that's a little bit different. If you do go to a gym where the trainers have skin fold calipers and it's appropriate for them to use it on you, that can be something to look at as well. There are some machines at home. There's a couple. There's I don't even know what they're called, but a scale where you can also pull out the handlebar. So it's like an at-home InBody, but different. And there's also a suit that you can wear as well. So that's looking at circumferences too. So all of those are going to be helpful. You can also take your own measurements with a measuring tape. You can do progress photos. That actually gives you a lot of information. And we want to make sure that we're doing this at a place of not judging ourselves and not leading to that further restriction cycle, but to be able to focus on, okay, where am I starting? Where am I going? The scale is one data point. It's not the whole picture, okay? Not even close, but you can add it to your self-monitoring tools, okay? Stop cutting your calories lower when the results stall. 9 times out of 10, the answer is not eating less. It is eating better. It is eating consistently, more protein, more fiber, better distribution throughout the day. Stop adding more cardio as your default solution when something is not working. Like, okay, I'm just going to go get on the Stairmaster for an hour. More cardio is not the answer. More intentional progressive strength training is the answer. And if that's something that you're looking for, look in your community. Is there a local gym? Are there some trainers that are well versed in pregnancy and postpartum for you to be able to work with? And stop comparing your postpartum body to your pre-pregnancy body on someone else's timeline. Your body grew a human being. It is different now. And different does not mean worse. It just means it needs a different approach. And that is exactly what we are talking about today. I want to get a little personal for a minute because I think it matters that this comes from someone who has actually lived this, not just studied it. When I had my daughter, the thing that hit me first isn't what I expected. I had mentally prepared for the belly. I had not prepared for the pancake butt situation, okay? I was like, where's my butt? Where is my muscle? Where did my glutes go? They were just gone, completely gone, like sucked out of me. I remember looking in the mirror and genuinely thinking something had been sucked out of me. Like, what is happening? There's no ass there. It's just flat. It's deflated. It's gone. No butt. And on top of that, everything felt really soft and disconnected in a way I hadn't anticipated. It was weird. Even as someone who knows exactly what is happening physiologically, it still caught me off guard. But I knew what to do. I started with the foundation. The breathing, the deep core reconnection, the postpartum phases we covered in episode 104. I didn't rush it. I didn't jump back into heavy lifting just because I got cleared at 6 weeks. I built the foundation first, intentionally and patiently, which is hard. It's really hard. And because I did that work early, by about 2 months postpartum, I was back in the gym lifting weights, and I progressed from there methodically with intention. But I want to be honest with you. It took time. It took patience, a lot of self-talk. It took 2 solid years of progressive strength training to actually get my glutes back. 2 years. And now at almost 3 years postpartum, my glutes are bigger and stronger than they were before I had my baby. And I'm having to buy even bigger pants, which mentally freaks me out. But then I'm like, hold on. I have a bigger ass. It's full of muscle. I love it. Okay. That's fine. And I mean that literally. The work pays off, but you have to do the right work in the right order, but it doesn't have to be perfect, mama. Now, here's the second story. I'm sharing this one because I think it might even be more relatable for a lot of you. This past January and February, so this is about 2.5 years postpartum. I'm a functional sports dietitian who literally does this for a living, and I started feeling soft again, not comfortable in my body. Things just felt off. And I would look at pictures. I looked at my High Rocks pictures and I'm like, what is going on? Like I felt just like fluffy and soft. And here is what I did not do. I didn't panic. I did not restrict my calories and go to 1,200 calories a day. I didn't add more cardio. I got the data. I collected data. I did a body composition assessment. I logged my food, not to restrict, but to create awareness the exact same way I did with my client I just told you about. I looked at my labs. I'm looking at them again. I think I'm getting them done next week. So I'm looking at other labs that I didn't get for my PCP. I looked at my hormones. I evaluated my sleep and my stress load honestly. And what I found was that things had drifted in ways I hadn't fully acknowledged. My nutrition wasn't as consistent as I thought it was. My stress was higher than I was admitting to myself. And some of my lab values were telling me a story that I needed to pay attention to. So I addressed it. I tightened up my protein distribution. I focused on sleep and stress in a real way. I started going to acupuncture. I made targeted adjustments based on what my labs were actually showing. And now in July, I feel completely different. Less soft, more comfortable in my body, more like myself. I feel stronger. And the answer wasn't fewer calories. The answer wasn't more cardio. The answer was being willing to actually look at the data, address what I found, and do the right things in the right order. And I share this because I want you to hear it from someone who is genuinely in it with you, not from just a place of I figured it all out and I'm perfect, because I'm not. I'm not perfect at all. But from a place of this is a lifelong relationship with your body and it is totally worth doing, okay? It's totally worth doing right. Now, I hear this a lot from my clients. I don't want to do a body composition test. I don't want to see it because then I'll be discouraged. Don't think that way. I want you to look at this as an opportunity to see, hey, this is where I'm at. It's okay. I'm not a bad person. There's nothing wrong with me. And what are the things that I can do that are realistic in my life right now that I can start to implement and start to change to be able to get to where I want to be in the next year or 2 years or 5 years? Now, I want to be really clear about something. Everything I just walked you through, the protein distribution, the progressive strength training, the nervous system piece, the body composition, focus, this is exactly what we address inside the Core Comeback Challenge. It just launched, and I want to be specific about what you actually get inside this program, because this is not just a workout program. Yes, you get 4 weeks of progressive core workouts in my app. Week 1 looks completely different from week 4 because every single week builds on the last. That is the whole point and the purpose. You are not doing the same thing over and over and over again at the same weight, wondering why nothing is changing. You are actually progressing. But you also get a full bonus bundle that is designed to support everything we talked about today. You get the Hormone Snack Solution Protein Pack, the Protein Pack Snack Guide, so you know exactly what to eat when and how much protein, the Magnesium for Moms cheat sheet, because magnesium is one of the most overlooked pieces for postpartum recovery, a habit tracker to keep you consistent, and a done-for-you meal plan so you are not guessing what to put on your plate. The workouts and the nutrition support together, that is what we need, because one without the other is exactly the problem we talked about today. It's $97. It's live right now, and it is waiting for you at wellnessbyval.com/core. Go get it. Get the bundle pack. Tell me what you think. Head to the link in the show notes, or again, head to wellnessbyval.com/core. Okay, mama, this episode 108, if it resonated with you or connected some dots, if it finally explained why the scale moving does not mean your body composition is changing, share this with another mom who needs to hear it, because I promise you, she exists and she would totally appreciate it. She is in your circle and she is frustrated and confused and doing all the right things and not seeing the results she wants. Send her this episode. And if you are ready to take the next step for yourself, head to wellnessbyval.com/core to join the Core Comeback Challenge. Stay strong, stay nourished, and I will see you next Monday for another episode. Bye. Hey mama, I hope you loved today's episode. If you got something out of it or simply enjoyed listening, would you please take 30 seconds to share it with another mom who could use the support? And if you haven't yet, I would be so grateful if you could leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. It truly means the world to me, and it helps the show reach more amazing moms like you. All right, time to go chase my toddler around. Stay strong and nourished, and I'll be back on Monday with another episode. Talk soon.